Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. AB here along with Jack, and we are the Stream Catchers. Jack, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing real good. How about you?
Feeling good, feeling great. We are in week 2 of no Disney Plus streams to catch. Fortunately, it's 2022, and we have 16,000 streaming services that we could talk about. So
That's
we're
right.
going to do quite a pivot, and we're going to go over to Netflix for the first time in almost a year of doing this.
Yeah, the
Um,
OG streaming service.
Yes, the one that really started it all, for lack
Yeah.
of a better thing to say. So we came up with 5 shows or movies or whatever, anything that's on Netflix is free game, 5 each for us to recommend to each other. And if there's time at the end, we'll talk about some other things on there.
Yeah.
I want to say this before I throw it off to you. I don't know about you, but my list doesn't contain anything obvious. We
Yeah.
talked about this beforehand. I don't need to recommend Stranger Things, for example. I don't need to recommend The Dark Knight or Seinfeld.
Right.
You either
Right.
have seen those or you've been recommended those. So we tried to go for some hidden gems. I came up with one cheat, but we'll see what happens. Jack, why don't you kick us off? What's your first rec?
All right. I'm going to start at the bottom of my list. Number 5. I have the movie American Ultra. Have you seen it?
I have.
Dang it. I was really worried that you had seen it. It's a great movie, though. Jesse Eisenberg, Kristen Stewart.
Great is certainly a word.
Did you not like that one?
I do like it. It is a fun movie. I would not say it's a great movie, but
I guess, yeah, fun is definitely more of an apt description. Do you want me to pivot and do a different one? Because I have a few more that I
um,
could.
yeah. However you feel. If you want to talk about this, because it is a fun movie that people should check out. But if you want to throw a different rec in, feel free.
Well, I kind of want to make it a conversation between me and you because
Okay.
I want to recommend stuff that you are authentically, maybe interested in.
All
So
right.
let's do. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen this, The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
I haven't.
Okay, it's a Netflix original. It's a comedy. It stars. I should have Googled this beforehand. It stars a character from The Office. You've seen The Office, right?
Yes, and I know who you're talking
Okay.
about. Funnily enough, I was in a bit of a
Yeah.
show hole this weekend, and I was looking for shows to watch, and I almost watched this. And
It's
it's
not
the
bad.
okay.
It's quirky. It's silly. It's the dialogue is not the dialogue's not really how people would naturally talk to one another. It's very written, but the way that it's written is very clever and funny and silly and lighthearted. And I think that you would enjoy it. It probably goes on a little bit too long. I think that this show probably could have just been like 2 or 3 seasons. It's just a silly comedy. I'm trying to get her name.
Is it Aaron something? She
I think
plays
I think Erin is her character. Ellie
yeah,
Kemper.
Ellie Kemper.
Erin
Okay.
is her character on The Office.
She's great. I loved her on The Office.
Yeah, she's good. So she was in the story in Kimmy Schmidt. She was a mole woman. She was involved in a cult. The cult leader is played by John Hamm. The cult is basically he brings like 4 or 5 women into a bunker and basically tells them that the world has ended. They can't come out of the bunker. All of their faith is in him, and they just have to do whatever they say. So periodically throughout the show, they'll do flashbacks of the mole women doing these absurd things. That's really great. But anyway, she's in the bunker for 15 years, so she misses like I don't know exactly what it is, but I'll say like 2000 to 2015. And so she's just missing that chunk of time. So she has to reintegrate with society, figure out technology, learn how to live in a modern day world. And it's a really charming show. I think that you would enjoy it.
That's a lot like have you seen the movie? I think it's called Blast from the Past. It's Brendan
Mm-mm.
Fraser and I think Alicia Silverstone.
Okay, that's a
I
good duo.
it's essentially it's set in the 60s. He's
Okay.
like a brand new just born baby, and it's because it's during the
Just
Cold
a
War.
fresh one.
Yeah, it's during the Cold War, and his dad has a bomb shelter. I'm pretty sure his dad's Christopher Walken, like a wild cast. And they stay in this bomb shelter for 30 years, and he leaves after that time is up, and so he's like he still talks like it's the 50s, dresses like the 50s, but now it's the 90s, and everybody's like punk rock, and it's wild and crazy. It's pretty funny. So that's what that reminds me of.
Okay.
I'm glad you recommended this because I was kind of like on the fence about checking it out. Would you say it's like weird for a 30-year-old guy? Would I feel weird watching it?
I would say that you are not the target audience, but I will also say that you will know if you're going to dig this show in like 2 episodes. If you give it
Okay.
2, you're going to know. It's not like it gets better over time. It's not like say like Parks and Rec or Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where like you kind of got to stick with it a few episodes before you even like learn the characters before it gets good. Now this one, it gets you started right away. The comedy stays the same. It's very clever and quick, and I think that you'd enjoy it.
All right. Well, I'll give it a shot. I appreciate the rec. I
Yeah, man.
will take us over. I have a movie, and
Okay.
it's called The Guilty. Have you seen that?
I've never heard of it.
All right. Well, so it's a Netflix original movie. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal. It actually came out like 6 months ago. It's in September last year.
Okay.
So, fresh movie. And you could tell it's a pandemic movie because it's about a guy that is a police dispatcher who gets a call from a woman who has been abducted, and he's on the phone with her trying to help her escape. And he hangs up, and he makes other calls to the other dispatch, and he at one point he even talks to the guy that's abducted her. It's actually a wild movie, and I loved it. I had a great. It's really short. It's only like an hour and a half, and it's a suspenseful, like easy to watch, easy to get sucked in film. And like I said,
Okay.
you can tell it's a pandemic because he's by himself for most of the film, and you only see him face to face with 1 or 2 people, and they're at least 6 feet apart, if not further. So it's
That's kind of an interesting take
yeah,
on a weird way to film a movie. During the pandemic.
they got
Uh,
creative, and yeah, it worked.
Now that you're describing it, I can remember the trailer. I remember
Yeah,
the trailer, but I feel like I probably only saw it once and never gave it any thought. That's it.
yeah,
That's cool though. I will add that to my list.
absolutely awesome, great. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah,
The Guilty.
cool.
What's
Do you want my
what's
number
your next
4?
rec? Yeah,
You ready? Okay. Next show is Happy Endings. Have you
remind me
watched
what that
that?
one is.
Okay, so it is a half-hour comedy, kind of in the same vein as like How I Met Your Mother, Friends, because it's based on a group of friends that live in a big city that deal with relationship drama and job drama, stuff like that. And it's like 5 or 6 friends. I'm not sure. It's got Damon Wayans Jr. It's got have you seen The Ranch?
I haven't seen it, but I know of
Okay,
it.
one of the characters from there is in there. Have you watched I'm not gonna 6 degrees of
That's all
separation
right.
this.
I've
It's very
seen
clever.
I've seen the show like in the queue and the recommendations, and I've always kind of been like, I should check this out, but I haven't actually seen it. So
I highly recommend it, especially to you. I think that you will like it a lot, just based on, I know some of the comedies that you've watched all of and highly respect. I think this will fit in there.
awesome.
It's
Okay.
only 3 seasons. Like I said, it's a half-hour comedy, so there's not a whole lot of episodes. I'm pretty sure they got canceled. It didn't end, but there's not like a cliffhanger or anything. It's just a
Okay.
comedy show. So
Okay. That's so frustrating when that happens because there's a few shows that I would have recommended if they hadn't been canceled, but
oh
they
yeah,
did end on cliffhangers where you're like,
that's
what?
kind of
Damn it.
dirty.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks. All right. Well, I'll check Happy Endings. I'll check that out.
Yes, highly recommend.
All right. My next recommendation is a limited series, and
Okay.
it was kind of popular, so maybe you've seen it or at least heard of it, but it's The Queen's Gambit.
I have heard of that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
That's a chess movie, chess show.
yes. Anya Taylor-Joy was an orphan that was trained how to play chess by the janitor there, and is an absolute prodigy. She
Okay.
goes on to play in all these, and it's set in the 50s, so it's sort of like a big deal that a woman is playing chess against the men. Like she'll go and sign up, and they'll be like, "Are you sure this is an all boys tournament?" And she'll be like, "Yeah, I'm good," you know. And so
Yeah.
it deals with a lot of that, and I like movies set in older time periods. So you see
Hmm.
her sort of move through the 50s and 60s, and it's brilliant. It's only, I think, 7 episodes or so, but it's damn good.
So what is what's the tone? Is this like a dark show? Is it funny?
It's more just a drama. It's not, I wouldn't say it's
Okay.
dark, but it's not really funny. There's some funny moments, and there are some real serious themes that take place, but it's
Does it have to
not,
do with her being an orphan? Like, is that where the drama comes in?
so to speak. She's always, I think, it's been a while since I've seen it. I can't remember if there were like some substance abuse problems as well, or stuff like that, or just navigating the world of chess and
Okay.
relationships and things like that. But it gets intense, man. And I'm not like a chess player, but after I got through with it, I was like, I kind of want to play, because you see how intense these people can be. I didn't even realize that people play chess mentally. They'll be like
Yeah.
rook to K7 or whatever, and that's probably not even a real place. And like they're just playing in their minds, and I'm like, that's
Yes.
just beyond the scope of conception for
Hmm.
me. But
Yeah. Chess is wild.
it is wild. Wild is a weird word to use for chess, but it is wild.
It is though. Like when you watch professional play, like the speed at which they play, like
Yeah.
the level of like I know, 3 moves down. If I do this, I'm screwed, so I can't do it. It's a whole different ball game, man.
Whole different game. Yeah, but it's great. You should definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun, and it's really easy to get through.
Good good deal. So yeah, you said 7 episodes, right? That's yeah. I mean,
7 episodes, about
it's like a
45
weekend.
minutes to an hour piece. Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. You want my number 3?
Hit me with it.
Okay, this one is I'm serious about the recommendation, but it is an undertaking, so I don't at all expect you to just like, oh, he said watch this, I'll watch this. It's 10 seasons. Stargate SG1. I love Stargate. It's my all-time favorite 90s sci-fi. I think it's better than Star Trek. I think it's better than Battlestar Galactica. It's so good. I don't remember. I know we've talked about Stargate before. You haven't seen anything, right?
No, man, I've never watched Star Trek, Battlestar. I've never watched anything.
Okay. So Stargate started as a movie starring James Spader and Kurt Russell.
Oh.
The movie is about so there's Kurt Russell is the military guy in charge of the mission, and he needs a scientist, and the scientist ends up being James Spader. James Spader is a linguist. He knows like every language. He can decipher cuneiform. He can decipher hieroglyphs. Like he's the language expert. So they bring him in because they have a Stargate, which is a big giant ring that turns into a portal that'll take you to different worlds that also have Stargates. And they have all these encrypted symbols on them, and they find out that they're buttons. Well, they push these buttons in a random order. It doesn't make any sense. You get James Spader involved. He knows a little bit about language, so he can tell you this symbol, then this symbol. They punch it in, it turns into a portal. They go to a different world. The series Stargate SG1 takes place after this mission and has to do with a alien species known as the Goa'uld. They are a symbiote species. So they take over a human host, and I'm trying to not spoil, but also give you enough to get interested. They basically they dress up as the Egyptian gods, and like they are the reason that we have the myths of the Egyptian gods, is because they were the gods basically. So they worship them as if they are a higher power. And so when they go to these distant planets, the Goa'uld, these symbiotes, have either enslaved the people or convinced the people to. They've basically done something to uh, to they do something so that the planet doesn't develop technologically. They damper their, I don't really know how to say it
That's
other
all
than
right. You're hitting
they
me with a
just
lot
they
of info.
I know, because there's a lot to it. I mean, it's a sci-fi. I mean, like, explain Star Wars to someone who's never seen it.
They've laser
Like,
swords and they can move things with their
yeah,
hands. It's like
yeah.
what?
It's a little more grounded than a typical sci-fi series is, because it like at least half of it takes place on Earth, and like, the main character of the movie is Daniel Jackson, who is the linguist, the James Spader character. You follow him and he doesn't know anything about this. So you kind of learn everything through his eyes. And then when the show gets started, their function the team's function in the Stargate program is discovery. So they just go to new worlds that no one has ever been to and report back, basically.
Okay. Is it one of those shows where it's like 24 episodes a season that are like 45 minutes apiece?
Yup.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, Jack. I'm probably not gonna get to that anytime soon. But I do trust you, and we do have similar tastes, at least when it comes to stuff like that. So it's something I'll probably give a shot if I'm looking for a show like that.
I'll tell you this: if you don't like this show, it's because you didn't see it earlier in life. I'll tell you that. I would highly recommend you check out the movie, and if you like the movie, then the show. If you're just cool with the movie, that's fine too. I mean, you know what I mean? The movie is very good.
That's an easier thing I think to ease into.
Yeah.
A 2-hour movie versus
maybe that'll be
70
my
hours.
recommendation then. But I am attached to SG1, the series.
All right. Well, I will think about giving the movie a shot.
I understand.
All right, man. My third rec is another movie. I didn't realize how many movies I had on here.
That's all right. I love movies.
It's a movie. It's not a Netflix movie. It's a full-on regular movie. It's called Hell or High Water. You ever seen that?
Never heard of it.
Oh man, Chris Pine, Jeff Bridges. It is a badass movie. So it's set in West Texas. Chris Pine and his brother, I can't remember the guy that plays him. They're bank robbers. They're just trying to rob some banks, get some cash so that they can roll out. And Jeff Bridges is the sheriff who's trying to catch them. And it's pretty short. It's only about an hour and 45 minutes, but it's a good old fashioned like Western noir type movie that is really badass and has some great acting.
Does it take place in the Old West?
No, it's modern time.
Okay.
It's modern time, but Western themes and you got your protagonists are very morally corrupt but it's very well acted. It's very, very good movie.
Good stuff.
That's all I really have on that.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to put a bunch of pizzazz on a movie. It's a little easier to.
It was on Hulu for the longest time, but it just hit Netflix pretty recently, so it should be on there for a while. But
how old is it?
2016, I think. Yeah, 2016.
Okay. Alrighty. So my runner-up, my number 2. I had to pivot a little bit on this one. This one is Altered Carbon, but it's just season 1. So
just season
Altered Carbon. Anthology series seems wrong, but like season 1 is a self-contained story, and then season 2 is completely different. It's another sci-fi show, so strap in while I try to explain it.
Well, I haven't seen the show, but I've seen it on the thing, and I've been thinking about giving it a try. It's with Anthony Mackie, right? The first season.
So that's the second season,
okay.
And I have only seen the first 2 episodes. I actually gave up on that season. But season 1 is fantastic. I love it so much.
It is on my radar. It's something that I thought about checking out. I just haven't gotten around to it.
So the link between the seasons, it actually features the same main character, but this is going to be, okay. Technology exists where you can live past your own lifetime. You have what is called a stack, which is a chip inserted into into your neck, And then your body is what's known as your sleeve. So after you're done with a sleeve, you like if your body dies, you get shot in the head, you're done. You take your stack out of your neck, put that stack into another sleeve. There you go. You keep on living. So the link between the seasons is that it's the same character, it's just two different actors. It's Anthony Mackie in the second season.
I got
But
you. Okay.
it also takes place in a different timeline. Like there's a whole time jump. The characters are all different. The case is all different. Like he's not a cop. He works with the cops. He's kind of, his function is detective, basically. He isn't one, but he's hired as one.
Gotcha.
His job in the first season is to solve someone's murder, and the client is the person who's murdered. He is a super wealthy guy. He actually was shot through the stack, but of course, technological advances. He has a backup. He has a backup to the cloud. So every day, his memories get backed up to a new stack, so that if his stack is blown out, he just reverts to the last backup. So he doesn't know who killed him. He lived through it, but since his consciousness was put a day before, he wants to figure out who wanted to murder him because he's rich and he can do that. He wants to know who wants his money. So, but it's so much better than I'm describing. It's very hard to describe this sci-fi show. You really got to get into it.
I did see the trailer, so I do have a gist of what it is about. And again, yeah, it's been on my radar. It's just there's so many shows to watch, and my list is, I have HBO and Hulu and all, Apple TV Plus and Amazon Prime. There's so much to watch now. Disney Plus.
Yeah,
there's
I
just
know.
so much to keep
well,
up with.
A good selling point on this one is I know that you could binge through this in a day and on a Saturday or Sunday. I think it's 6 episodes, maybe 7 or 8, but they are the full hour. But it's so good. I know
that's
you love
easy
it.
That's easy to jump into then. Okay.
Yeah.
I will give that a shot because it did catch my eye and I was like, I'll give it a shot. Why not? But we'll get around to it.
Okay.
My runner-up is another movie. It's the last movie, I promise. It's called Kodachrome. It is.
Spell that for me. What did you say?
So it's spelled Koda Chrome.
Okay. CHROME.
Yeah.
Kodachrome. Okay.
Great cast. So it's pretty recent. I think it came out in 2017 or 18. It's got Jason Sudeikis, Ed Harris, and Elizabeth Olsen. So Jason Sudeikis is a record executive who's kind of struggling a bit. His dad is played by Ed Harris, who was a famous photographer, and he has terminal cancer. He's going to die, and Elizabeth Olsen is his nurse. As a photographer, he used to develop his film in what's called Kodachrome, which was a really old style of developing color film. And it is no longer a thing. And there was only one location left open in Kansas. And he had some film that he wanted to finish up developing before he died. So, and I should say that Jason Sudeikis and Ed Harris, the father and son, they're estranged. They don't get along.
Okay.
But as part of his last dying wishes, he wants his son to drive him to this place in Kansas, this Kodak store in Kansas from Chicago. So it's a road trip, sort of dramedy style movie with the three of them all riding through in a pretty sweet car. And it is more of a drama. It's more of a, he's dying, right? And there's a lot of you see them butt heads a lot, and then there's a lot of laughter in it too. I love road trip movies. If you tell me there's a movie where you're on going across country, I will watch it. So this movie was just like a thing that I found randomly in the hidden gems section, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. And oh my God, it was so good.
I think that I will try that one because I also have an affinity for road trip movies and just movies that take place like I like holiday movies that are like completely on the holiday. I like big blowout party style, rager party movies that take place in a day. I like that kind of that vibe where it's just a very small narrow window into this. I like that. I'll check that out.
It's really good. And I can't say enough about Jason Sudeikis. I didn't really realize how good of an actor he was, because I feel like when I first was introduced to him, he was doing some of those movies like he was in Hall Pass, I think, right, and
Yeah.
stuff
Well,
like
he
that.
gained his
There's
fame on SNL, so like
right,
people want him to be the funny guy, and he is. He's hilarious.
right, but he's a brilliant actor, and we both watched Hit Monkey on Hulu. He voiced the
Uh-huh.
guy on that, and I don't know if you don't have Apple TV Plus, but Ted Lasso
No.
is like taking over the world, and he's on that. So
Yeah.
I love Jason Sudeikis. And while I'm on the topic of him, I'd also recommend Ted Lasso if you if you get
Yeah.
Apple TV
Yeah.
Plus. But yeah,
Yeah,
check it
that's
out.
cool.
Kodachrome.
I'm glad that he is a good actor outside of comedy. That's good to hear.
He's
I
great.
don't think I've seen him in a role that isn't comedic, so I'll check that one out. Thanks for the rec.
Sweet. Yeah, absolutely. What do you
All
got? What's your
righty,
last
it's time
one?
for my number one. Do you want to guess?
I hope it's not that Jurassic Park show.
So we talked about. I've been casually recommending Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous to AB off air, which is a show that I genuinely enjoy, but it's totally a kid's show, and AB will not. This is not in his. It's not for him. No,
I have no idea.
it is an animated show, though.
Okay.
It is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay. Yeah. That
It's
makes you've been trying to get
so
me to
it's
watch that forever.
it's not so much of a gem, but I know that you've never seen it. I think that it's super important to our generation's pop culture. It's super famous. It has a sequel series. They have developed Avatar Studios and partnered with Netflix, so there's going to be all kinds of new Avatar stuff coming soon. I can't say enough positive things about this. It might actually be my favorite show. It's
Wow.
only and another good selling point: 3 seasons, 20 episodes per season. They're all 20, in the realm of 20-22 minutes because it was a Nickelodeon show.
Okay. That is actually encouraging because it's an anime, right?
It is okay. So I'm glad that you asked. It's an American anime. It
Okay.
is animated to be in the style of anime, but it is American.
Okay, because yeah, when I do like anime from time to time, but as
Mm-hmm.
big a fan as I am of like Dragon Ball Z, good God, that's a chore to get through if you want to watch
Mm-hmm.
everything. So
Yeah.
that's sometimes an anime can be a bit of a turnoff because it's an investment. But knowing that Avatar's only, like it sounds like 60 episodes, that at least is not difficult. I don't
Yeah.
know how I never watched it. I don't know how I missed
It's
it.
crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's big. It's a big deal to me personally,
Yeah.
but it's a big deal in its own right too.
Yeah, I might have just been out of the point of watching Nickelodeon, so it just wasn't on my radar at the time. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know how I missed it.
Yeah. So, should I guess I should talk about it a little bit. It's about the Avatar. He lives in a fictional world where there are 4 nations: fire, earth, water, and air. They have each nation, each culture has their own style of bending, which is it's a martial arts that uses one of the 4 elements. You are born with the gift of bending or not. And the only person who can do all types of bending is the Avatar, and he is supposed to keep everything in balance. 100 years before the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Fire Lord declared war, and the Avatar disappeared. So coming back into post 100 year, they talk about everything that's taken place since then as the 100-year war, and Avatar Aang, his responsibility is to bring the world back to balance. He has his friends Katara, who is a waterbender, Sokka, who is a non-bender. He's Katara's brother. He's hilarious. He's where a lot of the comedy lies. He's also kind of the sort of the leader. I don't know. That's debatable, but that's for a whole nother podcast. And he has his companions Appa and Momo. Appa is a flying bison, a 6-legged beast that flies him wherever he needs to go, and Momo, who is a flying lemur. who just neither of them talk. They hang out. They're great characters. They talk to each other. And his earthbending instructor Toph, who is the Blind Bandit. She is a runaway princess. She is blind, and she uses her earthbending to see. She kind of has like not like a echolocation's not right, but something like Daredevil, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And so they're being hunted by the banished fire. What would he be? Fire Prince, I guess. I don't know. The Prince of the Fire Nation, Zuko, has a big scar on his eye, and he travels around with his Uncle Iroh, and Uncle Iroh provides us with sage wisdom throughout the whole show. He's my favorite character.
What year did this come out?
Avatar aired from 2005 to 2008, so that would have been like junior high for us.
Yeah, man. I must.
You must have been too much. You were too into DBZ at the time.
Well, I think in 2005, I definitely was watching a lot of sitcoms. Like that was kind of when I was watching Friends a lot, King of Queens.
Okay.
I was kind of into that. I mean, and I still watched a little bit of Nickelodeon, but I was like Drake and Josh.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely was. I think I was at the point where I was like, I'm too cool for cartoons. But
actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I was also in that phase and didn't watch the show start to finish until I was in college.
Yeah.
When it was actually on Netflix to stream.
There you go. So,
yeah.
The early days of Netflix.
Yeah, highly recommend it. This is something you have got to watch. If you don't watch anything on the list, watch Avatar. It's seriously good. I know you'll enjoy it.
Does it feel like you're watching a kid's show, or is it more of
nope.
No? Okay.
Nope. I don't think so. I've watched it several times, so maybe I'm biased, but it's really good storytelling. There are times when you can see the kids show shine through, where it's a little silly, a little crude humor. But the show as a whole, they tackle a lot of issues that you would not expect for a kids show.
Okay, kind of like Batman animated series a bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will give it a shot. I see it all of the time. I see clips every now and then. People love Avatar, so I mean,
it's really good.
Yeah. And I trust you as well too. So, all right, Jack, you want to guess what my number one is?
I just don't want to disappoint you if I'm right, but yeah,
I won't be disappointed. I won't be disappointed.
I really hope it's Cobra Kai.
Defeat does not exist in this dojo. Yes, it's Cobra Kai. Yes. I love this show so much. This is my one cheat because it's wildly popular. I think most people that have Netflix have seen it or have come across it or have been recommended it. The fourth season just came out in late December, early January, I think. It was a pandemic show for me. I caught the first two seasons, and then season 3 came out maybe a month or two later. I'll say this. I watched the first two seasons, and then I immediately watched them again. And then season 3 came out, and I watched season 3. And then I was like, I want to watch all 3 of them together. So I watched seasons 1, 2, and 3. And then season 4 came out this past couple months ago. I watched it, and I was like, well, I got to watch all of this in a row. So it's like I've seen probably seasons 1 and 2 probably at least 4 times a piece.
Yeah.
And I've seen season 3 times and season 4 twice. So it is a seriously easy binge. Like it's like eating potato chips. You'll start and you're not going to want to start. And you'll be like, oh, what's wrong with me? So obviously it's a continuation of the Karate Kid. You've seen the Karate Kid, right? Probably.
I've seen the first 2. I may have seen the third one, but if I have, I don't remember it.
Okay. So the way that I would describe this is you don't have to have seen any of Karate Kid, but it is much better if you have. You should at least have seen the first one because it's fantastic. It's a classic. It's one of those movies that everybody should have seen.
Yeah.
And so obviously, to quick summary, Daniel LaRusso moves from New Jersey to Reseda, California in the Karate Kid. He gets picked on by this guy named Johnny Lawrence, who is part of the Cobra Kai dojo. They're all a bunch of assholes. There's a big tournament. Daniel LaRusso beats him, and that's the movie. That's it. That's the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So wax on, wax off, all that.
Yeah.
And so we fast forward 30 plus years later. Johnny Lawrence is now a bit of a loser. He can't hold a job. He's got a really crappy apartment. And one night a kid is getting picked on by some bullies and he kicks their asses. And then he takes on the one little kid that got picked on as his student, and he reopens Cobra Kai. Well, Daniel LaRusso doesn't like that because he hated Cobra Kai and he thinks that they're evil. And so
Uh-huh.
you get a really good mix of both think that they're the good guy and both kind of are but aren't at the same time. They do a really good job of keeping it very gray as far as like who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, because
Hmm.
they tell it in the way where it's a lot like How I Met Your Mother, if you remember the season where
Hmm.
Barney was a big fan of the Karate Kid, but he liked Johnny Lawrence more than he liked Daniel LaRusso. And that's where the inspiration came from, was How I Met Your Mother. That's where this show came from. And the whole thing is that actually Daniel LaRusso was moving in on Johnny's ex-girlfriend, and Daniel was the one that was instigating some of the fights. And he
Okay.
was, so they make it to where neither one is really truly good or bad. And God dang, man, some of the dialogue is it leaves a little to be desired, because
Okay.
it's a lot of kids that are young and acting and maybe aren't as polished. But outside of some forced dialogue here and there, the characters are very well written. They spend a lot of time focusing on the relationships. They do a really great job of fan service from the movies. Each season ends in a way where you're like, all right, I gotta see it. I gotta see more. Like, give me more.
Yeah.
And
Do
and
they
I
do
would
cliffhangers at the end of the episodes?
at the end, yes, they do. They do.
Cool. Okay.
The
That's
fights are
yeah. That'll keep me
fight.
going on a binge. Yeah.
It's so
Cool.
easy. Well, and the early episodes are only like 30 minutes. They get
Hmm.
a little bit longer, deeper in, 40, 45 at most, but they're usually around 35, 37. So it's like you could knock it out in no time at
Yeah.
all.
About how
But
many episodes per season?
10 per season.
10? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
so easy to fly through. And so the way I'll say this, there are three, technically four Karate Kid movies. The fourth one is with Hilary Swank. It has nothing to do with this at all.
Cool.
It is easily
I'm
the
not
worst
watching
one.
Karate Kid 4.
It's easily the worst one. Karate Kid 2 is okay, not great. Karate Kid 3 is the weakest of the three. I would say that you should at least look at a summary of Karate Kid 3,
I can do
just
that.
so that you kind of know, because they will bring characters from that into this at some point.
Okay.
But if you really truly don't want to watch them, when something comes up where you have to know what happened, they will show you directly the clip from the movie in the show.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
As like a flashback?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's clever. That's creative. I like that. I think that I'm
It's
gonna like the show. I will watch it.
I think you'll love this show. You said Avatar is probably your favorite. This is probably my favorite show right now. It's
Cool.
so good.
I'm excited to watch it now.
Yes, I can't say enough about Cobra Kai. They've already filmed season 5. Who knows when it's coming out? They've been doing them like a year apart.
Hmm.
But oh my God, it's such a great show.
So is season 5 its end, or do we know that?
They're gonna keep going. From what I hear, it sounds like they
Cool.
want to do
Very
6 or
cool.
7. So
Yeah. It's popular. I know a lot of people that watch it.
I love it.
Cool. All right, man. You want to take us home?
Yeah. Well, so did you have any other ones you wanted to shout out, or?
You know what? I had some more runner-ups just in case you had watched the ones that I was going to recommend. But it's a pretty short list, and I don't really have much to say about them. I've got Terminator 2 and Arrested Development.
Okay, yeah, I do want to see Terminator 2. I can't believe I've never seen it. I don't
Yeah,
know why. I don't know
it's a
how.
franchise you definitely got to get into eventually.
It's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those ones. I don't know why I haven't watched it.
Hmm.
I remember watching the first one with you when we were in high school. So
Hmm.
I'll get around to it. And yeah,
Okay.
I tried Arrested Development. I know everyone loves it. I'll probably get to it at some point.
Have you never watched any of it? Have you watched some of it? Where are you at on that?
A few episodes,
Okay.
just never got hooked.
Okay. I think that is a show that you will have to give a few episodes to get into, because it's about a big family, so you got to learn all the character names, the relationships, all that before you get into the comedy. But once you really get into the bulk of the comedy, it's probably the most clever show I've ever watched. Like and it's hard to express, or it's hard to explain why clever is the word I'm using, but it is. It's so clever. They see, you know how like in a show where they'll have the A plot and B plot, where like this is happening and this is also happening, but they don't have anything to do with one another. It's just nice to cut from this to this to this to this, and then you're done.
Yeah.
It's over. The episode's over. Well, this will have A plot, B plot, C plot, and then you won't expect it, but they will intersect in a way
Okay.
that you did not expect, and it's so funny.
All right, I'll give it a shot. I know.
And you know who's in it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Jason Bateman, it's Will Arnett. You're
It's a
gonna
great
love
cast.
it, man.
It's a great cast. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, eventually.
I had a few runner-ups to, I don't know if you've ever seen Outer Banks.
I know about it. I've never seen it. I've got a buddy at work who has recommended it to me several times.
It's more of a teen drama, so you kind of have to get past that.
He's 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that's the age group that it's
Yeah.
kind of targeted, is like late teens, early 20s. So some of the dialogue is a bit like, like the love interest stuff is you're like, all right, this is a bit
A little
much.
CWE.
Not that bad, but
Okay.
definitely it's better acting than CW, but it's,
Okay.
it's, you're the only one for me, and they're 17. It's like, all right. But
Okay, I see what you're saying.
the mystery aspect of it is a lot of fun. It's a treasure hunt type of show. It's a really good show.
Okay.
And
See,
then,
I didn't even know that. I really don't know anything about it.
yeah. So a kid's dad was searching for a treasure, and he's dead, and so the kid wants to find the treasure with his friends. They all live in, it's called the Outer Banks, off the ocean by North Carolina, I think it is.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just really good. They do a good job of keeping you into it and keeping it suspenseful. It's pretty well written. The kids are all good actors, so it's a good show. And then
Oh, cool. I didn't know you had seen that one.
I also have Love. You ever seen that?
Love. I don't know. What's it about? I'm gonna look it up while you're telling me.
It's a romantic comedy. It's a Judd Apatow production.
Okay.
Jillian Jacobs is in it, and I can't remember the name of the guy that plays the dude. But it's two people that are really bad at relationships, and they find each other, and it's been a while since I watched it, but really well written show, really good acting, a Judd Apatow style of comedy. If you liked his movies, it's good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since I've seen it.
Cool.
So those are my runner-ups in case you'd seen something I'd recommended.
I gotcha. Cool.
So
good recommendations, man. I'm really looking forward to watching Cobra Kai.
Oh, I can't wait till you do, because it's so good. All right, folks. Bit of a deviation from the norm, but this is actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be, so I'm glad we did it. Next week, we have another countdown episode. I am excited. We are going to be pivoting to the Batverse. We're going to be talking about our top 10 favorite Batman movies. I'm Vengeance. He's the Knight. We can't wait. We'll see you next week, folks. Until then, keep on keeping on. If you want to follow along, the links to our social media accounts are in the show notes below. If you're on the YouTube, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, click the bell so you can know when our content is coming. And that's all, folks.
We love you. We'll catch you later.